My name is Spencer Aldridge, and I used to be a medical student. Cardiology, if you can believe it. All that time memorizing the heart's conduction system, and I still managed to fail the ethics part. Funny thing, people always think obsession looks like bloodshot eyes and note cards taped to the ceiling. For me, it started quietly, in a back room at the University Museum, holding a preserved fetus with two faces. They called it a Janus baby, 2 skulls, 1 spine, perfectly symmetrical. I stared at it for a long time, longer than most would. Most people glance and shiver, pretending they aren't curious. I wasn't pretending. I was curious. I wanted to know why it happened. I wanted to know what it meant. Anyway, this is my story, and as my assistant, you're expected to listen. That's how this works. I talk, you take notes, and try not to look too horrified. I doubt you aren't curious. After all, you applied to work for me right out of college instead of getting a safe hospital job like a responsible adult. That tells me everything I need to know. Now, where was I? Right, I started asking for more time in the anatomy labs. Stayed late in the morgue. I wasn't sneaking around. Not yet. It was just curiosity at first. Clinical even. But then I found the tooth tumor. The medical term is tricky, so I'll skip it. But if you'd seen it, really seen it, you'd understand. Perfect little human teeth, embedded like pearls in a flesh-colored mass, smiling without a mouth. I held it in my hand and thought, this shouldn't exist. And yet it did. So how many other things were out there that shouldn't exist, but did? That's when I stopped caring about normal bodies. I didn't want to study how they worked. I wanted to study how they went wrong. Not accidents, not random mutations, but the places where the body rebelled against the blueprint. Things that broke the rules in elegant, impossible ways. I started collecting case studies, files, photos, preserved samples when I could get them. Tumors, fused twins, bone growths shaped like antlers. I filed them under type anomalies. That's what I called them then. I had this half-formed idea that maybe these weren't just defects. Maybe they were echoes. Genetic throwbacks. Things we weren't supposed to be anymore. I wrote papers, gave a talk. Not to the whole department. Just a few postgrads, a couple professors I trusted. They laughed. Not all of them. Some just looked uneasy. They used words like dangerous and irresponsible. But I could see in their eyes, they didn't not believe me. They just didn't want to admit it. After all, we all know the stories, don't we? The old ones, Greek myths, folk tales, bedtime warnings our grandparents muttered when they thought we weren't listening. Half-formed creatures, beasts with human faces, men with the teeth of beasts. Werewolves, mermaids, things that blur the line, things that don't belong in any anatomy textbook, but somehow appear in every culture. Why is that? People say they're just stories, but they were stories before microscopes, before genetics, back when a child born with scales or hooves was explained by a god, a curse, a monster. We cleaned it up with terminology and white coats, but the fear is still buried under lab reports and insurance codes. That's when the real work started. I stopped using names in my files, started coding the subjects. I knew I was crossing a line, but once you've seen what I've seen, you can't go back to pretending. I started meeting with patients off campus, people with rare deformities, cases that don't make it into textbooks because no one wants to admit they exist. I'd take samples, blood, hair, tissue, small things, nothing invasive. Then came subject 9. A boy 11, webbed fingers, underdeveloped jaw, thickened skull with dermal plating almost like scales. The scan showed something else, extra vertebrae, coiled at the base of the spine like a tail that never grew fully. I ran tests, repeated them. I lied to his parents, said it was for a scholarship study. They believed me. That paper never got published. The faculty burned it literally, said I was risking lawsuits, criminal trouble, academic ruin. The dean called it medical malpractice. I called it research. They told me to pack and leave. I didn't argue. I just left quietly. That was 3 years ago. Then an opportunity I didn't expect appeared, working at this zoo. Most people think zoos are for animals. Most of the time they're right. Lions, penguins, giraffes. Things you can read about. Latin names, known diets. Things that poop on schedule and die predictably. Bracken Hollow isn't that kind of zoo. Technically, it's the Bracken Hollow Zoological Institute. That's what the sign says at the front gate, under security cameras. Look it up. You'll hit a dead end. No phone, no photos. The land is under a conservation trust that doesn't exist. It's tucked in northern Pennsylvania, in a valley you won't find unless you already know it. The road is cracked and long, and no one comes unless they're supposed to. The main building used to be a hospital. You can still see it. Tile floors, old whitewashed walls, steel doors peeling paint. Some rooms still smell like disinfectant, especially when it rains. I converted most surgical wings into specimen room. One for soft tissue, one for bones, one for living things. The cages are in a quarry behind the building, reinforced with steel, concrete, and whatever works. Some creatures here don't follow normal rules, so the cages can't either. I wasn't hired as a zookeeper. Officially, caretaker and field specialist. Fancy words for feed things, clean things, and keep them from dying, or escaping, or killing each other. There was a manual when I got here. Handwritten, water, damaged, ended abruptly on page 17. If it speaks, do not reply. I keep it in a drawer, mostly for morale. The zoo didn't start with me. Someone else ran it. Some old naturalist, I think. No full record, just bits, scribbled notes, inked diagrams, a few jars with faded labels. I don't know what happened to him. Maybe he retired. Maybe he got eaten. Either way, I'm here, and the creatures still need tending. I'm not alone. My only companion is a dog named Bailey. A mutt, mostly shepherd, a little of everything else that makes a dog tough and opinionated. She showed up a few days after me, skinny, wet, acting like the place belonged to her. I didn't argue. She's been with me ever since. Sleeps at my cot's foot, follows me on rounds, sits outside enclosures, staring like she's figuring out what everything used to be. Bailey doesn't talk, but she communicates. Skip meals, she gets loud. Forget to sleep, she curls up on my notes and won't move until I do. She sighs when I smoke too much, growls at unlocked doors. She's saved my life more than once, not heroically. Mostly by keeping me from doing something too stupid unnoticed. I talk to her more than I should. Real conversation. She listens like she understands half, probably more than most people. I like having her. Work gets heavy. The specimens aren't good company. Some barely sentient, some too sentient. Bailey keeps me from forgetting how to act human. So here we are, far from anywhere, surrounded by creatures that shouldn't exist, in a building that probably shouldn't stand. I've made it work, for now, and you. My assistant, my brilliant, precious assistant. You're going to help me. Congratulations. Few get this far. It means you passed the screening. Or maybe you slipped through by accident. Either way, you're here. That means you're mine. Lots to learn, files to review, feeding schedules, specimen histories, containment protocols, maybe trial. And error-based, you'll get it. Probably, but first I need to catch you up. You can't take care of something you don't understand. Nothing here makes sense until you hear the stories. I'm going to tell them all. Make some coffee. Get comfortable. You're going to be here a while. Story 1. Specimen hash 14. The harpy my first day didn't feel like a first day. No welcome speech. No paperwork. No orientation videos with cheerful music explaining emergency exits. I got out of the car. Someone in a green jacket handed me a clipboard, gave a 5-second introduction, and walked away. That was it. I was the new caretaker of the impossible. I didn't have a room yet, just a cot in a storage wing with an extension cord to a flickering lamp. I didn't care. I was trying to understand the place, what it was. The cages in the quarry looked like animal pens, but too deep and narrow. The bars had hand-welded cross stations, reinforced with scrap metal, fishing hooks, and strange pieces of religious symbols. No cage was labeled, no master list. I thought to start slow, find the food stores, map the place, settle in. Then the truck came, backed to the main dock. No logos, no lights, just a deep hum of something driving far. Two men climbed out, quiet, opened the truck bed, lifted something, carried it through the rear doors like furniture. I followed. No clearance, no one stopped me. Maybe they assumed I knew what to do. I didn't. The something was tangled in a net. Real net, nylon with drawstring, like in nature documentaries. Wet, heavy, dripping a red. Brown mix of blood and dirt across tiles. Feathers came off in clumps. Black, long, sharp. Looked like hawk or crow, but bigger. At first, I thought a bird. Then I saw the fingers, not talons, fingers. Long, dark, nails yellowed and curled like claws. Net twisted her limbs. Wings bent and folded. Bone, tendon, feather. Bird-like, yes, but not entirely. Bones jointed like arms. Too human. Her eyes were open. Black, glossy, still. She watched. No one said what she was. No one explained. They dragged the net into a cage in the lower west wing, cut cords, left. Cage door locked with a noise too final for something still alive. I stood outside the bars and stared. The clipboard I'd been given had only one line at the top. Specimen #14. Under it, someone had written, "Do not sedate. Feed raw protein. Monitor vitals. Temporary placement." That was all. I found a pair of gloves, a set of tongs, and a tub of liver in the cooler room. There were no labels, but the smell made it obvious. I brought the pieces down and fed her through the bars. She watched, ate, and blinked once. I set up a notepad on a tray and recorded basic vitals from a distance. I couldn't get close for detailed measurements, but I noted her breathing. Shallow but steady, no sounds, no signs of aggression. I wrote everything down. Her anatomy was wrong, not broken, just designed differently. Bird bones aren't meant to hold human weight. Hollow bones would collapse. But she had them. When she shifted, I heard a low metallic creak, like wind chimes behind a wall. That's when I realized her bones weren't normal. I collected a fallen feather and sent it for testing. The results had elements I'd never seen in biological samples. Titanium, nickel, other things not listed. It made no sense. Nature doesn't mix metal into skeletons. That's design, not evolution. I stayed hours, just watching. She hardly moved, slow, steady breathing, but every motion was fascinating. The way her shoulders lifted showed the wing bones connecting. Not exactly like a bird, more like arms. You could see where feathers ended and skin began. Wings and arms, one structure, two purposes. Later on my cot, I couldn't sleep. I filled pages with notes, diagrams, questions, comparisons. Every detail, how she turned her head, how her feet curled around the bars, the exact color of feathers. I thought writing it all down would help me understand her, but I only confirmed what I already suspected. She was a harpy, literally, one of those harpies from old Greek stories, luring men off ships, stealing food, punishing the wicked, flying screaming into the air. Wings like vultures, faces like women, claws that could split trees. Nobody agreed if they were demons, spirits, or something else, but every culture had them, always part human, part bird, all danger. She fit, every detail matched. Unfortunately, I didn't have much time with her. Next morning, she was gone. The Institute sent instructions in a sealed wax envelope. No return address. Typed and impersonal. Log the death. Cremate the body. Reported under natural degeneration of incomplete specimen. I stared at it. I didn't follow it. I waited until night, then carried her myself, wrapped in canvas, in a transport case. I went to the edge of the quarry near the old aviary, soil loose, eroded from past weather. I dug a small spot behind the wall where birds had nested, not deep, far enough from cameras, close enough to keep an eye. I buried her and marked the location in my own files. Specimen #14, missing. I never told anyone. Sometimes, walking that wing at night, I hear a creak above, weight shifting, metal bones settling, cages empty, but I leave food once a week. Just in case. Story 2. Specimen 67, you've made it this far, so you're ready for more. You know now this isn't a normal zoo. We don't keep normal animals. We don't follow normal rules. Some need meat. Fresh meat, some need more. This story begins my second week here. One morning, a file sat on my desk. No note, no instructions. Just a thick folder labeled Specimen 67. Inside, blood tests, scan images, notes, and one short set of directions. Room 9, sedate twice daily. Keep restraints secured. Do not enter alone. Must be fed. Never speak first. Room 9 is in the far east wing of the main building. Once part of the hospital ICU, now sealed behind 2 locked doors. Walls reinforced, no windows. Through the viewing window, I saw a large man strapped into a steel chair. Arms bound at wrists and elbows. A leather strap across his chest held him in. He didn't move. Head bent forward. Then I noticed the head wasn't human. A bull's skull. Not a mask, not a helmet. Real bone, curved horns, worn from age, connected directly to the spine. No seams, no staples. It looked like it grew that way naturally. That wasn't all. 2 heartbeats, one in the chest, one in the skull. Both slow but steady. A heart monitor beeped every 30 seconds. Not dying, just normal rhythm. His body was human but altered. Large muscle growth, thick leather. Like skin, dozens of scars. Some surgical, some not. Brain scans showed 2 kinds of activity. Normal human patterns. Thinking, language, decisions. And animal, like responses. Fight, hunger, aggression. Both active at once. This wasn't a mutation. It was an experiment. His file said he was created by Dr. Callow. I'd heard the name at a med school conference. Disappeared after ethics violations. Callow believed humans were too weak. Emotions slowed them. He wanted instinct restored. Used animal glands and hormones to change humans from inside out. Not just strength. A creature acting purely on urges without guilt or fear. Specimen 67 was the result. Now they live at Bracken Hollow Zoo. The file said he had to be fed, but not what. I asked a senior handler. Don't worry, the benefactors handle it. I learned what that meant a few days later. Truck at night, no lights, no plate. Driver stayed in cab. 2 men unloaded a crate and wheeled it inside. Inside, a man unconscious, maybe sedated, hands cuffed, wrist tagged. They took him straight to room 9. I wasn't involved. Tag had no name, just a case number. Later, I learned these were criminals, violent offenders, sealed records, escaped transfers, officially gone. The zoo has a deal with the government, funding and silence in exchange for disposable humans to feed creatures that can't survive on anything else, including Specimen 67. They call him the Minotaur. He doesn't resist, doesn't yell, but during feeding you hear through the walls. One night, sedation failed. I saw vitals missing on the monitor. Checked wiring, cable pulled out. Through the window, he sat upright, restrained but awake. Head turned to me. I asked, "Can you hear me?" He looked long, then said slowly, "Where is the boy who fed me?" That was all. No explanation. No record of a boy. Maybe a previous caretaker. Maybe someone from the lab. I don't know. I haven't asked again. Now, every truck at night, I stay in my room. Advice: don't go to room 9, especially if curious. My last assistant did. Wanted to observe up close. Didn't leave with all limbs intact. Still sends postcards. Penmanship nice. Depth perception poor. Better you stay whole. Hard to run tests with one arm. Harder to write neatly. Be clever. Be careful. Stay out of that wing. I have 2 more stories. Short but important. You'll work closely with both specimens, so you need to know what they are, where they came from, what they can do. Let's begin. Story 3. The taxidermist's daughter Specimen 5 arrived in a wooden crate, velvet-lined. Upright, arms folded over chest, a folded note between hands, for continued observation. She may wake soon. She looked human, but was built from multiple animals. Legs ended in split hooves. Arms thin, long, joints bending too far. Small feathers covered her back and shoulders, and thin wings. More like a crow's than anything else were attached along the shoulder blades. Her eyes reflected light and had vertical slits like a cat's. There were stitches along nearly every major joint. Her condition was stable. No decay, no rot, no signs of blood flow or brain activity, but also no decomposition. I placed her in a sealed observation room with controlled temperature and humidity. No restraints. I logged her as Specimen 5 and ran basic scans over the next few days. No movement, no sound. On day 18, she opened her eyes during routine observation. She sat up, turned her head, and said, "Where's my father?" That was the first thing she said. I checked the crate again for origin details. The address label was mostly scraped off, but one line showed part of a name: the Vail Institute for Anatomical Restoration. I cross-checked with our archive and found mention of a private medical facility in Vermont. It ran from 1889 to 1946 and was listed as destroyed by fire. Records mentioned Dr. Thomas Greaves, an anatomist and self-taught taxidermist. His last experiment involved creating a human form using parts from multiple animals. He died in 1903. No confirmed birth certificate or record exists for Specimen 5. Her tissue shows signs of preservation chemicals from the early 20th century, similar to arsenic-based embalming. I estimate she hasn't aged in over 100 years. She keeps asking about her father. She hasn't asked about anything else so consistently. She doesn't eat, rarely speaks. When she does, questions are about weather, time passing, or unfamiliar sounds. She doesn't understand digital devices or electric lights, but shows no fear. She prefers sitting by the window when it rains. Bailey, my dog, likes her. Unusual. Bailey growls at most specimens, ignores the rest. With Specimen 5, she's calm, often lying near the room's door while the subject is awake. I have no explanation, but I take it as a sign of low threat. I once asked Bailey, "Do you know something I don't?" She scratched her ear and rolled over, which I took as either no or refusal to answer. This specimen proves there were or are other facilities like ours. The Vail Institute was destroyed, but someone kept its work alive enough to send her here. That means we're not the only ones collecting and studying these creatures. Someone else knows what we know. Story 4. The Candleman Specimen 34 was recovered from the basement of an abandoned research station outside Norilsk, Russia. The walls, ceiling, and floor were coated in a thick layer of wax. The wax was still warm, sealing doors and clogging vents. Fire damage was in every room: burned equipment, melted wires, and several charred human bodies. In the central room, the team found a humanoid figure partially melted into the floor. They cut it free and transported it to Bracken Hollow in a sealed, heat-resistant container. The figure was warm to touch. Over the next 32 hours, the wax shifted, and the specimen reformed into a human-like body. The face had no clear features, just shallow indentations where eyes and a mouth should be. The body had human proportions but smooth, wax-like skin. A single wick was embedded in the top of the skull, unlit. We store him in a reinforced glass containment pod with temperature control. He emits heat strong enough to blister bare skin. When fully formed, he becomes aware of movement nearby. If a person enters, he approaches slowly. If they get too close, he reacts violently. One technician opened the chamber without authorization to take a sample. The specimen touched him. The wax covered him in less than 30 seconds, sealing mouth and limbs. No visible breathing. He was placed in cryo storage. He remains alive but unresponsive. The wax acts like a trap, similar to spider's silk, immobilizing, preserving, possibly aiding digestion over time. We believe he can feed by absorption. I told Bailey, he's like House of Wax, only worse. She stared, walked over, and knocked my coffee off the table. Fine, no jokes. I said, we are running tests on the wax's regenerative properties. Each time the body melts, it reforms exactly the same way. The wick stays centered. Limbs form in the same order. Internal structure remains unclear. X-rays are inconclusive. Surgical methods are risky. Past contact made the wax spread rapidly. He does not speak or respond to sound, but notices movement, temperature, and proximity. The reconstruction suggests he remembers his own form, maybe a preserved mental image. The specimen came from a Russian sleep research facility, operating without oversight. Original goals unclear, but notes mention endocrine system experiments and long-term deprivation studies. Whatever they aim to create, it's no longer human. That's all for now. Every story, file, and damaged record I could reconstruct from archives, my notes, and what the last guy didn't destroy. I've given you everything I know, at least what I remember clearly enough to trust. The rest is scribbled on scraps or in old field journals. If I find more, you'll be the first to know. That's the history, and history doesn't scream. The present does. You'll work with these specimens up close, feeding, observing, testing when safe, staying out of reach when needed. Important, these aren't stories anymore. They're your responsibilities, waiting in the quarry cages and behind reinforced doors. Some will speak, some won't, all watching. Consider this a professional courtesy. Most new hires get a keycard, bad flashlight, and instructions not to bleed on the floor. You get a head start. I look forward to seeing how you handle it. Bailey likes you, by the way, rare. Don't let it go to your head, but trust her instincts. Never wrong about a specimen or person. Your cot is in the north wing, second door on the right. Sheets clean. I left a fresh notebook. You'll need it. Your first shift starts in an hour. Schedule taped to the fridge. Yes, we have a fridge. I'll be in the lab most of the night finishing dissection, reports, and prepping sedation rounds. If you need anything, don't shout. Use the intercom or knock loudly. Good luck, research assistant. High expectations. Let's see what you're made of.